What it is, everybody. Holy cow. Happy Monday. It's been a crazy weekend. Really crazy. So much news, it's hard to report on all of it. So but I'm going to do my best anyway. Welcome to the show. It's going to be a big show today. Lots of news about anti-Semitism today. We have multiple shootings, some throat slittings, some Trump tweets or Trump posts, truths to discuss. We will bring you the latest Candace Owens news. Happy Hanukkah to all those Jews out there and everybody else too. Why not? We can all celebrate each other's holidays. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, we are going to cover the various news. We have a shooting in Brown University where the suspect is missing, and they're blaming the FBI for booking the wrong person to start out with. We have a shooting in Australia by what they said was Pakistanis. Apparently it's not Pakistanis. So I'll show you that. And then we have lots of calls for censorship from Netanyahu, from Erica Kirk and Barry Weiss, from anti-Semitism experts, anti-Semitism czars. We have an arrest supposedly for a bomb plot in Southern California for New Year's Eve. I don't know though. So we are going to say we question the FBI story on that one, but we'll look into that too. So we have the FBI arresting people for supposedly planning pro-Palestine attacks. The most anti-Semitic thing you can possibly do is support a state of Palestine, apparently. So I'll show you that. And yes, we will talk about Candace Owens news. We will talk about some of the latest with AI in the economy. If we get time for everything, I have things lined up for you guys today. The latest on AI in the economy, some of the stuff about the healthcare situation, etc. All of the things you've come to expect from the show. I saw this. Zone Magazine reporter, thanks for joining the show today. Says, have you ever said sorry for the Q bullshit? Which show were you watching, sir? Which Q bullshit do you ascribe to this show? Because I debunked QAnon. So I would never say sorry for doing that. Maybe you're confusing me with another influencer, but I appreciate you being here. I never supported QAnon. I never, what did they do? What did those influencers do with QAnon? They analyzed the Q drops, decoded Q drops. No, I didn't do that. I never bought into it. It was all fake from the beginning. It was a psyop. I wouldn't say sorry for debunking a psyop, an obvious one at that. But perhaps you are confused. I appreciate you being here. Good evening, Laura. Good evening, Hot 420. Good evening, all far and wide universes, galaxies, dimensions, etc. So we are going to cover the news for you guys today. Today, one of the things we're waiting on is Erica Kirk meeting directly with Candace Owens in Nashville. So that is apparently happening. Candace Owens didn't do her show. So I'll show you the tweet on that. That's a big one. Erica Kirk making the rounds with Barry Weiss and stuff, saying that hating Jews is brain rot, which Charlie always said. So lots and lots of news about how anti-Semitism is killing society. So that's what's going on today. All right. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. We're going to go through it. You guys can give me your opinions as usual. Lots of controversy over Trump's post. I think I'll start with that. Lots of well, yeah, that was the other story that happened. Sorry, I didn't even mention Rob Reiner and his wife were apparently killed by their son, allegedly, yesterday. So that news is out too. So, and Trump posted something about it that's controversial even among his supporters. So I'm going to show you that. You guys can decide what you think about it. Pretty well, I won't say what I think about it yet. We'll wait for the real show. And that is the shortest intro we've ever done. We're going to drop the intro and get started. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, almost every day, Monday through Friday around this time. So if you want to support the show, you can do that by going to our store. I'll promote that first. Truth Revolution Clothing, truthclothing.io, which still has stock of shirts, which are in stock, super high quality, screen printed, not drop shipped, not cheap drop shipped shirts that you get from other shows. These are actual, real, high quality shirts, which are screen printed in America and last a long time. And they are on liquidation sale for $10 and $5 each. So check them out. We have several for $5. These HODL shirts, Litecoin shirts, $5. Bitcoin shirts are $10. Freedom of Faith shirts, if we have a few left, are made in America. Those are $5. And then we still have some ladies slouchies. Check those out. Those are super nice. Very high quality, $10 each. So check them out. Question Everything. Those are the shirts. We still have some of those left. We are selling out. Believe me, we've gone down to one page of inventory only. So get them while you still can and get them in numbers. Check out our Bitcoin Saves shirts. These are super cool. We still have those. And Bitcoin will eventually save. Eventually. Today it wasn't so good, but that's to be expected in the times which we are in. So there we go. All right. Thanks everybody. And then also you can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. These shirts are at truthclothing.io. If you want to do a super chat, we are demonetized at the moment, so we can't get real YouTube super chats. Go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, drop some coffees, leave a note, and I'll read those before the end of the show. And if you ask a question, I can answer it. And you can also go to Cash App at $sign LTV411. All right. So thanks. Let me look at the comments here for a second. Doshi, we're asking about Doshi. Doshi is no longer with us. He died probably of cancer. So thanks for catching up. Glad you found me again. Doshi is not with us anymore. Mike says Rob Reiner's son was out of control. He was at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party and an argument broke out. Could this tragedy have been avoided with some kind of intervention? I don't know. The news broke last night that there were 2 elderly people found dead in Rob Reiner's house. They didn't say the names at first, but then eventually the news came out. People Magazine and TMZ are reporting that it was his son who had a drug problem and had been homeless at times. Some people were saying that he was trans, but apparently I haven't seen any confirmation of that. And all the videos, he appears to be actually just male and not trying to be female. But some people were saying he was trans. Oops. Okay, I gotta hang that up. So that's not true as far as I can tell. But apparently he had a drug problem. Apparently he got in a fight at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. So that's the official news, and that he cut their throats. So it's pretty sad. Rob Reiner hated Donald Trump. He was responsible for a Russia investigation into Donald Trump, into like some outside Russian investigation group, promoted the Russia hoax. But he also made some really good movies like Princess Bride, Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men, I believe. You guys could say what the other ones were. I know I like Princess Bride and Stand By Me personally, but he was a Trump hater. For that, Trump put out a Truth Social post today, which I will read to you. Share this tab. He put out a Truth Social post today and answered questions about it. He wrote this on Truth Social. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. So that to me is pretty horrible. I don't know where he's coming from. It's a little bit split, but a lot of people are going after him. A lot of people on the right, Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then a number of other conservative accounts, Cassandra Fairbanks for one. Jack Posobiec is defending it and also put out this tweet where he said, "You won't see people on the right celebrating the horrific murder of Rob Reiner and his wife compared to the left's reaction to Charlie Kirk's murder." And as a matter of fact, there are a lot of people celebrating Rob Reiner's death on the right and agreeing and defending President Trump, including Jack Posobiec with a follow-up tweet. He got community noted on this because Trump basically did kind of celebrate his death. It was totally a bad taste. I'm not sure. I have no idea where he's coming from. So, but that's what happened today. It's created a little bit of a divide, I would say, between some people who totally think that we should celebrate the murder of people on the left, even though we get mad when they celebrate the murder of people on the right. I'm not sure how it all works. Seems like a double standard. And in any case, if you want to talk about the celebration of the death of Charlie Kirk, Rob Reiner specifically responded to the death of Charlie Kirk in a way that seems entirely appropriate on Piers Morgan. So I'll play that.
When you first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk, what was your immediate gut reaction to it?
Well, horror, absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service, at the memorial they had, was exactly right. And totally, I believe, I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful, and absolutely, she forgave his assassin, and I think that is admirable.
There you go. So he's a Jew that actually doesn't hate Jesus as well, which is kind of better than some, because in their books, in the Talmud at least, they don't like him very much. So seemed to have an entirely appropriate reaction to the death of Charlie Kirk. I don't know what Trump's on. He responded to it, question about it too. I'll play that. Didn't apologize. I don't know if he's going to lose people for a long time over this, but people were kind of upset. I will play Trump getting a question about it where he didn't apologize at all. So here he is getting a question about it today.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
How can you say that about the Princess Bride? How can you not be a fan of his, at least for the Princess Bride? I think I've seen that movie 1,000 times. How can you not be a fan? At least he made some good movies. So yeah, Trump answered some questions today. He also declared fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction, which is pretty bold. I assume that means we can bomb more people if we do that. If we declare people terrorists for selling drugs, I think, and then we get to bomb them. So there's so anyway, that's the stuff on Rob Reiner. Pretty crazy story. There is more. Let's see. I have a little more of, I think, his son talking about him. Here is his son talking about how he once destroyed his guest house. So I have a few clips about him. Seems like he's being interviewed. People magazine, like I said, and TMZ are reporting that he's the guy that did it, that they got in a fight. He was a drug addict. He was homeless. But it seemed like they were on good terms. They made a movie together. But then they got in a fight at this party, and it seemed to end very badly. We don't wish that on people, even if we don't like them. Here's some. Here
I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was coke and something else, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house.
Like a frame, like what? Like a stuff?
No, I think I started with the TV, and then I went over to the lamp, and then everything in the guest house got wrecked.
Did you punch the TV?
Yeah, I literally punched the TV.
Did you like lacerate your hands? I mean, that sounds bad.
Did you hurt yourself?
I don't even remember at this point.
There you go. So that's the guy. Drug problem, mental illness. I saw Laura Loomer say that only Democrats have kids with mental illnesses. I was like, well, you have a mental illness, so that's kind of something to say. But I don't think it's just Democrats who have kids with mental illnesses. So a few people on the right are attacking him or defending what Donald Trump said, but not me. I think it's kind of crazy because he's the president, actually, just because he's actually the president, and he doesn't need to say that. and no Democrat politicians, although there were a lot of people on the left who are crazy who celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, no politicians celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk. No Democrat politicians. So seems like he should do a little bit better, I would say. So that's the news on Rob Reiner. Kind of sad. Oh, and apparently his wife, Michelle, took Donald Trump's picture for his book, The Art of the Deal. So they actually even had kind of a personal relationship before. Oh, that's right. He also made Spinal Tap, which was a good movie too. Turned all the way up to 11. Spinal Tap, right? So kind of a bummer, really, even though he hated Trump. But you can't hold that against people when they get killed by their kid. So anyway, that's the story on Rob Reiner. What about Candace Owens? Candace Owens news after Erica Kirk went on all the talk shows, and I have some clips of that. It actually has to do with the censorship regarding anti-Semitism I may be talking about. Candace Owens, Erica Kirk posted, Candace Owens and I are meeting for a private in-person discussion on Monday, December 15th. Candace and I have agreed that public discussions, live streams, and tweets are on hold until after this meeting. I look forward to a productive conversation. Thank you. And Candace Owens says, I am very much looking forward to this discussion. And actually, today was supposed to be the day that Turning Point USA did their takedown of Candace Owens. So it looks like that's canceled for now. The Candace Owens show did not go live for now. Mr. Happy says maybe they're going to scissor or something. Well, I don't know. Candace isn't leaving her Nashville sanctuary. Apparently, people are tracking Erica Kirk's private jet, and Erica went to her. And we'll see what happens. The truth is that early on, Candace Owens said that only two people could make, I believe this is the way it went. She said only two people could make her stop the investigation, and that was her husband and Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk told her to stop in her interview with Barry Weiss, and then Candace Owens moved the goalposts and said that she didn't tell her to stop. She said she told her to stop lying, and she said, first tell me what I'm lying about. So Candace Owens kind of went back on her word. And anyway, Erica Kirk, who is a character for sure, is difficult to defend in a lot of ways because of her what do I want to say? I mean, I don't hate her. And I think what do you guys think of Erica Kirk? Do you think she's a demon? This is what people post about her, that she's wiping her tears with money and she wears crazy rings and stuff, and she wears crazy makeup and all of that. She's milking the death of her husband in the same way people accused Candace Owens of milking the death of her husband. But she did take over the organization, and she is trying to raise money to support what I think would be the legacy of Charlie Kirk. So I don't know what people expect her to do. Her crying is theatrical, but could be real. Assuming her husband's dead, some people think he's not. But one person, at least Steven Crowder, is predicting that the outcome will be that Candace will stop and that it'll slow down. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next. So you guys tell me. Thank you, user NS8LD. Lift the Veil is controlled opposition. Thank you. I hope you know who is controlling me. I hope I'm at least being paid. That would be the most important thing. If I were being paid, I would appreciate that even more. Being called controlled opposition. Who is my control? My advertisers? All right. So anyway, that's the news on Candace. I'll have a little bit more on that. Alex Jones weighed in. He seems to be, people don't want to criticize. There are some people who still don't want to criticize her too much. But obviously, Alex Jones isn't going along with it. But there's some evidence, too, on the 30-06 front. But will they stop? I don't know. Jimmy Dore is live today saying Erica Kirk caught lying about Egyptian planes. I think she said she wasn't on the planes, which wasn't an exact. Nobody accused her of being on the planes. Lots of discourse about Barry Weiss having her on. A lot of leftists think CBS has lost it. We have now Barry Weiss in charge of CBS. She has appointed a Jewish Zionist to be the news guy now, who apparently a lot of people don't like at the network. So anyway, that's the story with, that's a little bit of the story with Erica Kirk. I'm going to play you some of her interview. Okay, so in addition to that news, there was a shooting. What about the PSYOPs, you say? Some people, including Jimmy Dore, are saying these are false flags. I sympathize with that point of view. They are being used to push an agenda. People are looking at this gentleman who took a selfie of himself with blood all over his face, who apparently was a survivor of October 7th, who was at the Hanukkah celebration at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. So that's that guy who is presented certainly a little theatrically with all the blood on his face and everything. Don't know. So I saw an account say that he was aura farming, that he decided to aura farm in the middle of a shooting by taking a selfie of himself with his face all covered with blood. Apparently, he also warned the Australian government, just like Rabbi Shmuley and Benjamin Netanyahu, that if they kept it up with the anti-Semitism, that something like this was going to happen. Apparently, all of the Jewish leaders said that because of the anti-Semitism, something like this was going to happen. So that's one of the characters that was there. And speaking of interesting characters who were at mass shootings, it just so happened that he was an October 7th survivor who happened to be there. In addition to that, at Brown University, two of the students there also two suspicious students who were at the Brown mass shooting and who are speaking out on TV. One who survived Parkland, apparently, who wasn't at the high school, but was at the middle school or something next door. This person. That person was at the middle school. I saw her interviewed. It was kind of boring, so I'm not going to bother playing it for you. But she was on TV. And then an anti-Second Amendment activist, I guess this one, was also there. And also, they haven't caught the guy. First, they captured a guy who was ex-military, but let him go. The local authorities are throwing the FBI under the bus for it. So, do I have that? Yeah, here. Apparently, the locals are throwing the FBI under the bus for detaining the wrong person. The video they've released is totally unidentifiable with all the cameras that must have been there. That person is apparently still at large. In that shooting, I believe it was 2 deceased, 9 injured. No security really on campus. Campuses are going to get locked down probably. I mean, we didn't need key cards to get into every building either, but now people are talking about that. Here is the story about the FBI being thrown under the bus. Let me see.
I think it's kind to call it a manhunt right now, in the sense that manhunt generally means you know who you're looking for. If, at least from what we know publicly, they really only have the back shot, that we don't even know the identity, race, or visuals of the face of the person they're looking for. So as John was saying, you sort of have to do a regroup. That regroup is happening in two ways. One is take a step back and figure out where they're looking is the right place to look. He had to have slept somewhere. He had to get gas if he went on I-95. The second is the regroup of what we call the sort of incident command. And you saw that last night. I had never seen a local jurisdiction essentially throw the FBI under the bus, not just saying we're in charge, but saying, look, that lead that led us to the person of interest who ended up not being the person of interest essentially was run by the FBI. They said so explicitly. I think. And
let me see. I might have a picture of the guy. I might still have that here in my bookmarks. He was this guy. This is the first guy they caught. He was a decorated Pentagon sniper. And RT says face of evil because they thought they had the right guy. Benjamin Erickson, decorated Pentagon sniper who carried out security near the president. That was the first guy they arrested as a person of interest, and that's super suspicious. So, question everything twice said there's a 1 in 10 billion chance of being in October 7th and being at the Bondi Beach Hanukkah celebration. That's more than there are people on the planet, allegedly. So anyway, that's the first guy they caught. Benjamin Erickson, Pentagon sniper. So that, and you saw some of the video. The video, you can't tell who it is. They released a second video that's even worse. So we have the October 7th guy there. Let me show you some of the shooting. What should we call this segment? Is it a psyop? Or is it a false flag? I don't know. I think you're allowed to say certain conspiracy theories on YouTube, but certainly certain conspiracy theories are still disallowed. There's lots of video of these two guys. It was apparently a father and son. People said Pakistani, but apparently they're actually Indian and Italian, or the son might be Indian, Italian. I don't know. Apparently the guy's Indian. I have that. They say Pakistani, and they say it's because Australia said that Palestine should be a state. That's why they did it. That's why they had to attack Jews at Hanukkah, is because Australia said that Palestine should be a state. And that is actually like the prime example of anti-Semitism. But we'll show you video that you're allowed to see. They had bolt action rifles. There's already tons of gun control in Australia. People are calling for gun control here, but there's already tons of gun control. These guys had licenses. It seems like they're not allowed to own semi-automatic rifles. So these were bolt action rifles, and this guy seemed to have some proficiency with using them. So let's see. Here's some of the video. They were just walking around forever. The cops in Australia, apparently there were some lady cops that froze. That's what people are saying. Oh, and then this scene with these guys literally just standing there and the guy shooting and them standing there and not being shot, not scared, just standing there pointing at him. The guy in the white shirt, and then this other guy too. See this guy. He's just looking at him, not taking cover. And they're so relaxed, both the shooters. Really weird. But I guess the cops in Australia don't engage. This wouldn't happen in America. American cops would have taken them down. Apparently, they were shooting for like 20 minutes. Certainly not a reason to have more gun control. If somebody had a gun, they would have shot this guy. I'll show you the hero, the Muslim hero. There. I mean, how did he miss the guy? And then he walks away and for some reason doesn't shoot them.
Fireworks.
There, here's the guy using the bold action, which you can see he's really good with. But man, I can't believe they were allowed to just walk around. There's sirens going off and stuff. I mean, a sniper would have taken them out if this was in America.
Hey, stay there.
They have multiple guns, shotguns and long guns.
I don't know if it's a live weapon or not.
Looks real. False flag doesn't mean it's fake, right? So they say there was some rumor that one of them was ex-IDF, but I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that verified. There are always lots of rumors that go on Twitter. So you can decide whether it was the Jews that actually was behind this. Were the Jews? The juice is singular, I guess. If it was the juice that was behind it, probably not, but I don't know for sure. Certainly being used to promote censorship and war. Censorship and war. I'm going to show you that. Just to reflect what the title says. Here's the hero Muslim, Ahmed al-Ahmed, who apparently got shot. I didn't see him get shot, but he's in the hospital now. There's video of him there. Here's the hero from the situation, who unfortunately for the narrative is Muslim, owns a fruit stand or something. Here he is taking him down. It's a pretty good takedown, but I guess he got shot multiple times. I don't see it happen, but.
Oh!
And then he shoots him, I think. Some people said he shot him. I would have shot him. Doesn't look like he got shot. He just walked away. And then does it look like that guy got shot multiple times? Apparently he got shot multiple times.
Le mec est hyper
It's
courageux.
really weird.
Oh.
If he had killed him, would that have been legal after disarming him in America? So anyway, that's the video of that. If he had decided to kill him after disarming him in America, would that be legal? I'm actually not sure. Kind of depends on maybe which state you're in. In Florida, it probably would be. But I don't know about California. Here's someone in the chat saying he was an IDF soldier. I haven't seen that verified. If he was, then yeah, you'd think even more. Oh, yes. You're saying people are saying. W. Burke and Umbrella Corp says, did you discuss how these guys' names were searched before the attack? Yeah, I don't know if I like that Google search thing. It comes up in the Charlie Kirk shooter too. I don't know if I believe that. I just don't know how accurate those Google searches are that say the names were searched in Israel. Everybody does it every time. But it seems like, I don't know if it's proof of anything, or I don't know if it's a glitch in Google where somehow it reports things in the past that actually didn't happen in the past. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of those Google search results, to be honest. But I'm willing to discuss it. Thanks for bringing it up. Some people said that those names were searched in Israel. So I will say that to people. People are saying on Twitter that the names were searched in Israel beforehand. So they're saying they're Pakistani. Apparently, and one of them got killed eventually, and one of them got shot eventually and is recovering. I don't know if it was the father or son that got killed. They're saying they're Pakistani. I just wanted to show you the refutation of that claim. And also they blame it on anti-Semitism and basically they're kind of blaming it on TikTok algorithms. I don't think Muslim extremists who have their own way of following the news about Israel are radicalized by TikTok algorithms. You know, if these bombers they arrested, which I'm always skeptical of foiled plots, but if they're, because they seem like white people, they might have been inspired a little bit. You could argue at least that they were inspired by what they saw on TikTok and Facebook and stuff. But in any case, like this whole blaming the algorithms for everything, or saying that because Australia supported the state of Palestine that these guys felt emboldened. I don't know. If they're really radical Muslims, then I doubt they were radicalized by the Australian government saying they supported the state of Palestine. If anything, that would make them not want to kill Australians. But the juice does a pretty good job of radicalizing people by their own actions. You know, the state of Israel, I should say, radicalizes people by the things they do, pretty much. And then people say the things they do on TikTok and don't like it. And then the juice wants to censor what people say that's true, that the state of Israel does, pretty much, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not sure you're going to stop radical Muslims who have their own reasons for being upset about this, the people of Israel and the people and Jewish people by extension, by censoring TikTok. But that's what they want. So anyway, here is, just so you have it. They say they're from Pakistan. Apparently they're not. Apparently Indian and Italian descent. Here's a guy saying that, one of their neighbors.
Like his background's Indian and Italian. Like I think he's, yeah. So
can you hear it? It's very low.
Yeah, his mom's Italian. Yeah.
Dad's Indian. Yeah. So mate.
Mom is Italian, dad's Indian. There you go. That's all you have to hear. So apparently they're not Pakistani. So that's the shooting. You guys decide exactly who it was done by, what motives it serves. As far as how they're using it, though, I will show you Netanyahu first. Who is to blame for the shootings? Is it the individuals, or is it everybody talking about Gaza on TikTok? Which is to blame? Is it the Australian government because they supported the state of Israel, or is it two radicalized Muslim guys? Well, here's what Netanyahu said.
On August 17th, about 4 months ago, I sent Prime Minister Albanese of Australia a letter in which I gave him warning that the Australian government's policy was promoting and encouraging anti-Semitism in Australia. I wrote, "Your call for a Palestinian state pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. It rewards Hamas terrorism. It emboldens those who menace Australian Jews and encourages the Jew hatred now stalking your streets. Anti-Semitism is a cancer. It spreads when leaders stay silent. It retreats when leaders act. I call upon you to replace weakness with action, appeasement with resolve. Instead, Prime Minister, you replaced weakness with weakness and appeasement with more appeasement. Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia. You did nothing to curb the cancer cells that were growing inside your country. You took no action. You let the disease spread. And the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today. We saw an action of a brave man, turns out a Muslim brave man, and I salute him, that stopped one of these terrorists from killing innocent Jews. But it requires the action of your government, which you're not taking. And you have to, because history will not forgive hesitation and weakness. It will honor action and strength. That's what Israel expects of each of your governments in the West and elsewhere, because the disease spreads and it will consume you as well. But we are worrying right now about our people, our safety, and we do not remain silent. We fight those who try to annihilate us. They're not only trying to annihilate us, they attack us because they attack the West. In Syria, we saw yesterday 2 American soldiers killed and 1 American interpreter killed as well. Killed because they represent our common culture. Now, as a result of this, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said the following. He said, "Let it be known that if you target Americans anywhere in the world, you will spend the rest of your brief, anxious life knowing the United States will hunt you, find you, and ruthlessly kill you." We send our condolences to the people of America. And I want to say that our policy is exactly that policy. That's why those who target Israelis, target our soldiers, try to kill them or try to hurt them and wound them, as happened in Gaza yesterday, we take action. They will spend the rest of their brief, anxious lives knowing that Israel will hunt them, find them, and ruthlessly dispose of them. That is American policy. This is Israel's policy. It's our policy in Gaza, in Lebanon, anywhere around us. We do not sit by and let these killers kill us.
So I just want to ask, who is doing more to spread anti-Semitism? Is it Israel and their policy to eradicate Muslims or ethnically cleanse the Muslims that live near them and kill women and children? Is it their policy? Like they killed a bunch of their own people October 7th with the Hannibal policy, Hannibal directive. They blew up people so they wouldn't be taken prisoner by Hamas. And that's factually reported. A lot of the people Hamas killed on October 7th were soldiers, not all civilians. And the Israeli response was to kill many civilians, which even Charlie Kirk talked about. Their security lapse, where people weren't doing patrols, they didn't respond for 6 hours. And then in their response, they killed a couple of kids that were looking for firewood, apparently, because they crossed some imaginary line. They blew up journalists, doctors. They shot people who were waiting for food. Like who's responsible for the spread of anti-Semitism? Exactly. And is it really, I mean, really, are we going to blame the Australian government for the fact that these 2 Islamic extremists allegedly decided to shoot up a Hanukkah celebration? Were they really radicalized because the state of Australia supported a Palestinian state? And it seems like they're saying supporting a state of Palestine for people who lived there before the current Jews that live there, supporting them to have their own state is the most anti-Semitic thing you can do. And then you're saying Hamas, you support Hamas if you support those people who lived there and were thrown out by acts of terrorism and wars. You support them having their own state, and that's super anti-Semitic. So I don't know, but that's the direction. I mean, that's the direction we're going, and we can count on the GOP to support Israel's position. I'll skip straight to Lindsey Graham. This is his response, which is horrific. This is Lindsey Graham's response, who may be a female to male transitioner. He certainly doesn't seem to have to shave, and he has very small hands. And had a full head of hair too, I might add. No male pattern balding, no facial hair, small hands.
So this is all radical Islam, Senator. What do you want to see from President Trump in terms of assisting Australia right now?
I want President Trump to make a speech about what we're facing. That ISIS, Obama and Biden were wrecking balls. Obama withdrew all of our forces from Iraq. I begged him not to. ISIS took over in Iraq and Syria. Raqqa, Syria became a launching pad for attacks against the West. President Trump destroyed the caliphate. President Biden withdrew from Afghanistan, setting in motion radicalization of the entire planet, Russia invading Ukraine. President Trump has been dealing with a wrecking ball of Obama and Biden. What would I like to see him do? Give Israel the green light to go in and finish off Hamas, destroy Hezbollah. If you can't get them to disarm diplomatically in Lebanon, come up with a military campaign to take Hezbollah down, work with Israel to do that. The world will never be safe as long as Iran has proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah. Do not rebuild Gaza. Do not invest in Gaza until Hamas has been disarmed. Stand with Israel without apology. Reject the idea that a Palestinian state is the right answer until the Palestinian state has been de-radicalized and demilitarized. What happened in Australia should be a word of warning. When you appease those who kill Jews, you get more killing of Jews. ISIS killed 2 young men from Iowa because they were in Syria protecting us. And if ISIS comes back, they will hit us again. So God bless President Trump for putting ISIS on notice. We're going to retaliate, disarm Hamas, give Israel the green light to finish them off.
So end the ceasefire. Basically, Lindsey Graham is actually going against Trump's policy, which is that there's a ceasefire. So Lindsey Graham says, give Israel the green light to go ahead and bomb Gaza more, destroy Hamas, go have a war against Lebanon that we participated in. ISIS, which as far as I know, has nothing to do with Iran, Hezbollah, or Hamas. ISIS, apparently these guys had an ISIS flag in their car. That's what they say. ISIS, though, which was created by the United States and Israel. And the guy that is in charge now in Syria, who we like, was Al-Qaeda, right? So, which was created because we went into Iraq for Israel. So, and then Israel supported Hamas as a foil. I don't know if it's all going to work, Lindsey Graham. I don't know if that's what's going to de-radicalize people, is saying you want to invade other countries and destroy them. But that's Lindsey Graham. Well, I have another thing from Lindsey Graham. Recognizing a Palestinian state is rewarding terrorism. Here we go.
The rabbi that was killed in this attack wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of Australia weeks ago, asking him to reconsider recognizing the Palestinian state. To every Western government who's recognized a Palestinian state, you're rewarding killing Jews. It's the most irresponsible decision I can imagine. What state are you recognizing? Is it controlled by Hamas? What are you recognizing here? When you kill Jews, you get a state, you're going to get more killing of Jews. So I would urge the West to get tougher on radical Islam. The rabbi that was killed in this.
What about Israel killing Muslims? Like, should they have a state, or Israel displacing Muslims, or the Nakba, or all the wars to expand their borders, displacing Muslims? Does that mean we're rewarding Israel by allowing them to continue to be a Jewish state? I can just see the argument go the other way. Israel, a state formed basically through terrorism, who displaced people from the land that they inhabited through wars and terror. And we recognize the Israeli state because of the Holocaust. But couldn't you say this Israeli state that launches wars unprovoked, like the war against Iran, what was it? They called it the 12-day war. Iran hadn't done anything, didn't have nuclear weapons. Israel killed whole families through drone attacks and threatened their people. Don't know. That's Lindsey Graham, though. So the Republican Party, though, definitely is the one that supports Israel the most. And we're counting on them. He says, stand with Israel no matter what. Here, I'll show you this too. So here's the fighting anti-Semitism. So is it really going to work? Is fighting anti-Semitism all about changing algorithms? Can we change the way people think about Israel by changing algorithms? So here's Trump's pick for anti-Semitism czar. There's this J Post conference. I'm going to play you a few different things from this Jerusalem Post conference where they talk about what to do with people who are anti-Semitic. We deport them, or Trump does. We're deporting people with green cards because they led pro-Palestine protests on college campuses. Here's this guy.
The president is sending a very strong message. Think about it. Ironically, I get off a plane. I am the president's representative, and I am walking off with a yarmulke, and I have kosher food, and embassies will have kosher food. It is a game changer. The appointment is a game changer, and it's not about history. It's about education. And how do we educate? Indonesia has 350 million Muslims living in the country. How do we change their textbooks? How do we hold the people in Gaza accountable that if America is paying for UN textbooks and supposedly the changes are made, why are those textbooks not being used, and why are they using their old textbooks? We have to teach people it's not okay to educate your kids to be a martyr. Okay? And we have to hold those countries accountable. How do we battle anti-Semitism on the internet? How are we doing better on algorithms? What companies can we work with? We are going to have a whole division within the office of the Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism that is going to work on technology and working with the greatest leaders in technology, many of whom are Jewish and have offered their assistance. The office is going to be revamped entirely to be one of the highest profile offices in the State Department, because that's what the secretary wants and that's what the president wants. So we are going to have a very, very strong mandate on education, on protecting people, and how are we able to make a huge difference in combating what goes on.
Okay. So that's what Trump wants to do at our colleges too. He's mad about supposedly radical teachers teaching different things about the state of Israel than we want people to know about, that we want our future leaders to know about it, these elite schools. So that's what Trump ended up doing because of the protests on college campuses. He installed typically Jewish people to oversee the departments that teach about what's happening in the Middle East and who's actually destabilizing the Middle East and stuff, to make sure that they teach pro-Israel positions. So we also want to change the books in Indonesia, I guess. I have to make sure they know about the Holocaust, about the 6 million. So anyway, that's Trump's appointment for anti-Semitism czar, pointing out that a lot of people who own the tech companies are Jewish. Zuckerberg, the guys at Google, etc., who apparently are empathetic to changing the algorithm so that people don't see what happened in Gaza. So anyway, that's that guy. Rabbi Shmuley said it was a mini Holocaust. I think 15 people died, which is terrible. And in as much as it's a totally legitimate thing that happened, it's not good for people to commit terrorist attacks. And it is anti-Semitic to kill people because they're Jewish. But the state of Israel also does things that aren't great either, and on a much more massive scale. Here's Rabbi Shmuley, who called the event in Australia a mini Holocaust.
I was in Australia. I go there twice a year to visit my in-laws and to speak. And I spoke at Dover Heights Synagogue. I spoke at Central Synagogue. I spoke on TV all over the place. And my message was, there's going to be a mass casualty event among Sydney and Melbourne Jewry, God forbid. I spoke about how after October 7th, October 8th, the day after, there were thousands of Islamists who went to the Opera House, and they actually chanted, "Gas the Jews, gas the Jews." I predicted a mass casualty event. And you know how I was treated? Like a lunatic, like a crazy person, a fearmonger. There was actually in the Dover Heights Synagogue, where there were also 2,000 people tonight at some giant Hanukkah celebration. I was actually walked out on by half the community who said that you came from New York to Sydney just to scare us, and it's disgusting, and you're going to scare us. I warned this 6 months ago. I'm not saying this, God forbid, is it, I told you so. Who cares about something like that when so many people die? It's more about the future. Are 10 Australian Jews going to die, or 1,000 going to die? Australian anti-Semitism has reached such a peak, and it is so vile and so dangerous that if Australian Jewry do not learn to fight back. Now, how do we fight back? I don't mean by becoming violent. We're not animals. I mean marching. I mean holding Prime Minister Albanese to account. He's a disgusting pig. Albanese just put on another vanilla statement. What happened in Bondi was terrible. And no, Prime Minister Albanese, what happened in Bondi was like a mini Holocaust, a mass casualty event of Jews dying, and you always deny it. And when they burned down the biggest synagogue in Melbourne, Australia 2 years ago, you didn't even end your frickin' tennis game in Canberra, in the capital, to fly to Melbourne, which is like a 30-minute flight, and you have a private plane. You don't care. You sicken me. I am tired of dead Jews. Everywhere around the world, I cannot believe, even in Australia, down under, Jews are being murdered and slaughtered. And every day people call me and say, "Oh, Shmuley, your Instagram account has become so angry and it's become too extreme." What do you want me to say when Jews are dying and being killed everywhere? Wake the F up, Jewish community and our allies. Wake the F up. Stop trying to demonize people like me that want to get you to get your head out of the damn sand. We are dying, and it has to effing stop.
That's Rabbi Shmuley the dildo salesman. Have there been, how many terrorist attacks have there been? If it's so bad, this is the, I want to be fair. How many Jews are dying compared to Palestinians, Muslim Palestinians? I'm just trying to think. So that's Rabbi Shmuley. That's the anti-Semitism czar. That's Lindsey Graham. We're apparently going to, the Mossad wants to say Iran was behind the attacks. They want to use it as an excuse to, well, yeah, just like Lindsey Graham said, use that attack, which killed 15 people, to start wars against Lebanon, to stop the ceasefire in Gaza, blow up Hamas. They want to say that this attack was done by Iran to use it as an excuse to go to war with Iran again. Let me show you the Barry Weiss and Erica Kirk thing. Here's Barry Weiss saying that we need censorship over Candace Owens, who people say is anti-Semitic.
He was murdered 3 months ago. If you go on the internet, and if, frankly, it has leapt beyond the internet now into real life, and you talk to many seemingly sane people, they do not believe that the 22-year-old named Tyler Robinson that has been arrested and charged with his murder is the actual murderer.
Who did they think? Yeah.
They believe any number of theories. They believe that Erica Kirk was his Mossad handler and that he was killed by a foreign government. They believed that she was tracked by Egyptian planes. They believe that the rings on her hand are signs of Illuminati. The theories themselves are absurd. What matters is that, because she speaks about this in the interview, the brain rot that social media is allowing to spread, the way that it is detaching us from humanity, from our ability to talk to one another and our ability to discern the truth from just out and out lies, is something that is incredibly important as a theme, I think.
That's what
that social media is allowing to spread. Well, Tim Pool says that it's true they used to censor stuff a lot more, especially like me, who talked about things, and people like me. When we talked about Las Vegas, for example, we talked about the conspiracy there. That used to get censored, and now it's not. And apparently they push Candace Owens to the front page, which is different. But you can't stop people from thinking. And there are lots of other people promoting stuff about Charlie Kirk's assassination on Instagram and TikTok, in addition to Candace Owens. And the algorithms work based on engagement. That's all. So how are you going to stop what people think? If the algorithms respond to what people respond to, then how are you going to change people if they're just going to swipe when your propaganda comes up? How are you going to stop them from swiping up when they get hit with your propaganda? And how are you going to stop them from watching when they get hit with the stuff you don't like Candace Owens and other people who have conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk's death? People like conspiracy theories. People engage with them. Flat Earth was the most engaged with content on YouTube. That's why it became so popular, because people stayed and watched. They changed the algorithm for that, but that's what she's suggesting. You're allowing it to spread and it's changing the way people think. Well, I think people think things. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know if the algorithm is to blame, because the algorithm is based on what people engage with. And that's based on what they already think, probably. Can you change brain rot by changing the algorithm? I don't know. But here's Erica Kirk. If anything, if I was going to be critical of TPUSA, I will be critical of TPUSA in the sense that they whitewash the fact that Charlie Kirk himself was becoming more critical of Israel, and they totally stop any criticism of Israel. And Erica seems to not have any criticism for Israel at all. But here she is, the most hated woman. Like Candace Owens and Erica Kirk are fighting for being the most hated woman. And they're meeting today, supposedly. So here's Erica.
Hate is hate. It's evil. Charlie and I have always been very clear on our stance. Israel and Jewish people. It's awful. Awful. Anti-Semitism is what healing factor comes out of hating Jewish people? What healing factor comes out of hating Christians? What healing factor comes out? Hate in general. Nothing. Nothing. Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor, how could you hate that place? How could you hate the Jewish people?
I don't think, I certainly agree with her that you shouldn't hate Jews because they're Jewish. I certainly agree with that. And I do talk about it sometimes. I mean, real just anti-Semitism is a problem. Or just like there was some guy that showed up with a Nazi armband or something at a conservative conference. I mean, I think those guys are agent provocateurs. But Charlie was starting to have an issue with Jewish donors because they were trying to tell him what to say or what to believe, but certainly what to say, which doesn't come from hatred of Jews for being Jewish. It just came because of what he was experiencing, which was Jewish donors trying to control him, basically. So she's, let's see what they do after America Fest, if Tucker ever comes back, or if any of the people who are skeptical ever come back. That's this week, I think. Fest. I think that's this week. So anyway, that's Erica Kirk talking about brain rot. TPUSA as an organization and Charlie Kirk as an individual were tools used by some of their donors to control what young people think about Jews and Israel, because they are concerned that young people no longer feel some kind of religious allegiance to the state of Israel to support them no matter what they do. So TPUSA as an organization was meant to keep young people in line and to keep them away from people like Nick Fuentes. and Candace Owens. And probably Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk, the leader, was changing his mind about things before he died. So I don't think Israel killed him personally, but he was changing. It was clear based on text messages that he was changing his mind about a lot of things. And I think he was being led by the young people who came to his conferences and stuff, who don't have an allegiance to Israel, don't really care that much about the Holocaust. And just wonder what our relationship with Israel is doing for the United States, basically. So here is, I'll just play you this. This is a Muslim guy that is just kind of not good for the narrative, I think. Here's a Muslim guy talking to a Jewish guy saying that he's sorry about what happened.
Sorry about everything that happened over in Sydney.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you
no
saying
problem,
that.
no problem, no problem.
You celebrate Hanukkah?
I'm Muslim.
The Muslim.
Yeah. But I'm
the
gonna give you a
fact
hug.
the fact that
Yeah.
you're saying that, you know, in the
No,
Jewish
absolutely.
community, I got it all the time, but
Yeah.
this is the first time I get it from a Muslim, so
Absolutely.
it means so much to me now.
No, absolutely, brother. We're all in this together.
We're in this together in the same world we are. So
Yeah,
let's just
inshallah.
add in lights.
Peace and love. That's all we got.
Inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah. All right.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, brother. What's your name?
Rabbi Levi.
Rabbi Levi Farouk.
Yeah, Farouk.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Nice to meet you. I'll see you
Well,
on the way back.
I'll be around, so you know.
There you go. So there is a force that wants us to hate Islam. There is a force that wants us to hate Islam in a way that we're not supposed to hate Judaism. But religions of all kinds should be able to be criticized for their teachings. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So anyway, that was a nice Muslim, and then there was the other nice Muslim that stopped the other Muslim guy from killing more Jews. So I think it's a mixed, I think like anything, there's a mixed bag. There's good Christians, there's bad Christians, there's good Jews, there's bad Jews. There's good people, bad people. We're supposed to judge people based on their character. India supposedly is on high alert for warnings of terrorist attacks targeting Jews. There's only like 5,000 Jews in India. I don't know how that's going to work. Like officially, there's like maybe 4,000 to 7,000 Jews in all of India. But apparently, India is on high alert following intelligence warnings of planned terrorist attacks against Jews in major cities. So that's happening, allegedly. Speaking of terror attacks, so then we have this FBI plot from people with white people names and one Asian name, it looks like, and Audrey Carroll, Zachary Page, Dante Gaffield, and Tina Lay. And these are the signs. You guys tell me if this is a psyop. I mean, it's just a long history of the FBI setting people up to do things they weren't planning to do. This is apparently called the Turtle Island something or other. Here's the announcement.
The four defendants are Audrey Carroll, 30 years old. The pictures, I think we have them somewhere. We'll put them up here. Audrey Carroll, 30 years old. Zachary Aaron Page, 32. Dante Gaffield, 24. And Tina Lay, 41. Each from the Los Angeles area. Each is charged with conspiracy and possession of an unregistered destructive device in violation of Title 26, United States Code Section 5861D. We intend to file additional charges in the coming weeks as we finish reviewing the evidence. The defendants are all radical anti-government members of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, which according to their own social media is an anti-capitalist, anti-government movement that calls for their associates to rise up and fight back against capitalism. One of the leaders of the organization, defendant Audrey Carroll, helped organize an even more radical faction of the group called the Order of the Black Lotus. Each of the defendants charged today was also a member of the Order of the Black Lotus. Carroll described this group to her co-conspirators as everything radical. As detailed in the federal complaint, which we will now make public, in November 2025, defendant Carroll created a detailed bombing plot to use explosive devices to attack 5 or more locations across Southern California on this upcoming New Year's Eve. Carroll and her co-defendant, Zachary Page, led the effort to obtain and build the bombs and to recruit others to join in their plot. Carroll's bomb plot was explicit. It included a step-by-step instructions to build IEDs or improvised explosive devices and listed multiple targets across Orange County and Los Angeles. Carroll also made clear her desires. She said, quote, "What we are doing will be considered a terrorist act." Carroll and Page also discussed plans for follow-up attacks after their bombings, which included plans to target ICE agents and vehicles with pipe bombs. Carroll stated that those plans would, quote, "take some of them out and scare the rest."
So that's the plot, apparently, that was unraveled. They have pictures of the people in the desert testing out their bombs. So maybe it's real. What do you guys think? Kira D says, isn't Turtle Island the indigenous name for North America? Maybe it is. Why would anyone who supports Palestine want to do something that will create adverse sentiment toward Palestine? Yeah, I don't know. It is crazy. Turtle Island Liberation Front. Somebody has a video from their YouTube page. Here. Apparently, it's a YouTube channel with only one video posted 2 months ago. I haven't reviewed it yet. You want to see it? This is apparently from their YouTube page, Turtle Island Liberation Front.
And our world is filled with evil. But our God, you guys, our God is so good. So incredibly good.
A black kid was found hanging from a tree in Mississippi, and something really doesn't add up about this entire story.
You guys are fucking Nazis! You are fucking Nazis! The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's mercy. They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country.
That Trey's arms and a leg were broken. The coroner pushed back, saying that he didn't see broken bones in his exam.
You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't.
You should be scared of me. Who is in control? I'm well acquainted with villains that live in my bed. They beg me to write them so they'll never die when I'm dead.
Seems like leftist propaganda.
I've grown familiar with villains that live in my head. They beg me to write them so I'll never die when I'm dead. I'm bigger than my body. I'm colder than this world.
48 views.
I'm meaner than my demons. I'm bigger than these bones. And all the kids cry.
What do you think?
Please stop your
Civil War?
I kill this powerful energy. Goddamn right, you should be scared of me. Who is in control? And all the kids cry.
I think this music is, oh, if it's on a YouTube video, it should be fine. Yes, horses are fascist, King Ravana says. Yeah, apparently. Horses are fascist. So anyway, that's supposedly from their channel. Who knows? Maybe there really are deranged leftists who want to blow stuff up. It could totally be true. Fox News says there's an 893% spike in anti-Semitic attacks over the past decade. Every anti-Semitic attack is going to be reported in the news. They always say, let's see. Oh, that's their bar chart. Every year is the most anti-Semitic attacks. Don't know. Here's Fetterman.
I just can't ever defend some of the things you've said or this kinds of a language. And people with my party too, to defend things like from the river to the sea or to globalize the intifada and thing. We all know what that really means. And, if our party continues to back away from that, the people that are running for the Senate too, parts of their campaign have been defined by being anti-Israel. I'm going to send back their money and I'm going to adopt these strong anti-Israel things. That's a betrayal of our party's values. There's only one nation in the region that live the kinds of values that we aspire for, and that how we live here in our country. I can't imagine how we can firmly stand with Israel, but that's been motivated by parts of the party's base. And part of that was turned after social media, TikTok and other social media platforms. The anti-Israel kinds of views outnumber it 17-1% online, and that's poisoned an entire generation in our nation as well too, with this strong kinds of anti-Israel views that are absolutely devoid of context or the history, or in some cases are absolutely not even true in fabrications.
There you go. That was him at that same Jerusalem Post conference. Oh, I have one more. I have a long clip. What's going to happen to you if you're anti-Semitic? You're going to be followed around for life. I'll show you that, and then we'll wrap up. This is the stop, and this is at that same conference. This Jerusalem Post conference where they're talking about how they're going to stop anti-Semitism and not work together to do it. Here we go.
Tonight, I speak not just about a problem, but an actual fight. A fight that the Jewish community did not choose, but one that we are now fully engaged in, confronting the global explosion of Jew hatred, unleashed since the attacks of 10/7. Stop Anti-Semitism was built for this. For years, we exposed hate, pressured institutions, and delivered consequences. But after 10/7, this scale of threat and the urgency of our mission changed dramatically overnight. Since that day, we have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Not theorized about them, not quietly documented them, feature them publicly, clearly, and with evidence. The results speak for themselves. Approximately 400 of these Jew haters have faced real consequences, including firings, suspensions, and expulsions. More than 300 of them remain in an active investigatory state across universities, corporations, DEI departments, unions, hospitals, nonprofits, and yes, unfortunately, federal government agencies. And yes, 5 arrests to date tied directly to threats and violence of anti-Semitic conduct we helped expose. This is what accountability looks like. This is what action looks like. This is what pushing back hard looks like against the tidal wave of hate that has consumed the United States and global population. From our founding, Stop Anti-Semitism has operated on one guiding belief. Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences, a lot of them. We created visibility. We turned the spotlight towards those who targeted on our community, making silence impossible. On campuses where Jewish students were hunted through libraries, where professors glorified Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists, where mobs shut down our buildings and administrators hid under desks, we stepped in. We documented the offenders. We worked with attorneys, lawmakers, and victim families. And we ensured the message was not mistakable. If you target Jewish students, your actions will not disappear into the darkness. We will shine a light on you that, thanks to Google and SEO, will follow you for the rest of your life. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything, our work will always be documented. Again, thanks to Google and SEO. In corporations where DEI leaders smeared Israel, excused Hamas, we pressured CEOs. Some resigned, many were terminated, but policies were changed, thankfully, from governmental to art institutions. Online, where anonymous accounts spread violent threats, we traced patterns, elevated evidence, and worked with authorities, leading to arrests from Florida, South Carolina, New York, California, and Texas. And we're not slowing down, sadly. Today, Stop Anti-Semitism, I'm proud to say, runs one of the most robust anti-Semitic enforcement operations in the United States, monitoring campuses, digital networks, activist groups, and public officials, documenting incidents in real time and mobilizing millions of people, of allies that are quietly by our side. But the fight is bigger than the exposure, and it's about securing a future where Jewish students can walk across a quad without being screamed at, a future where employers understand that anti-Semitism is not activism, it's bigotry, and it will cause you to lose your job. A future where fact, not propaganda, shapes policy. A future where global institutions, from Google to ChatGPT, from governments to universities to media, finally treats Jew hatred with the serious of other minority-targeted hate. To get there, we need 3 things: action, real action, as I listed, accountability, relentless vigilance, because anti-Semitism does not take breaks. It doesn't wait for elections. It doesn't disappear because we are exhausted and tired. And when I tell you myself and my team are exhausted and tired, that's the least of it. Stop Anti-Semitism has never been more essential, more strategic, or more effective than it is now. But we cannot do this alone. The demand, the volume of tips, the number of investigations, sadly, it continues to grow instead of decrease. If we want a safer future for the Jewish people, this is the moment to stand together and act. We have to push harder to make it clear that Jewish safety is a non-negotiable. Tonight, I'm asking you to always be in the fight with us, not just in spirit, but in true action. Participate in calls to action. Write letters to your governmental officials. Speak to the teachers and the college administrators that are making, if it's not your friends and kids, it's making other community members feel unsafe. When we act, lives change. And anti-Semites learn, sometimes for the very first time in their lives and history, that targeting Jews will come at a price. And together we can ensure that Jew hatred never goes unanswered again. As a former refugee from the USSR, I say this with all of my heart. God bless the United States. God bless Israel, and Am Israel Chai. Thank you so much.
I don't know what that last thing might. It sounded like I'm Israel High. But you will be doxxed. You will be somehow they're going to use SEO to make sure when anybody Googles your name, if you say from the river to the sea or free Palestine, that you are called an anti-Semite forever and you never get a job or never work ever again. So that's the strategy apparently. So we're going to try to stay off that list as much as possible. I condemn anti-Semitism for sure. But we remain somewhat critical of the Israeli state and somewhat critical of censorship as well. So very critical of censorship, actually. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up there. We covered the topic that's in the title. More news for you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I checked my coffees and there were none tonight, but they can come at any time. If you want to support the show and support our coffee drinking, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, leave a note, and I will read it at the next available time to do so. And I appreciate your support for this show, which cannot exist without you, dear listener. And also visit our sale at truthclothing.io. All right. So for now, thanks everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's when we go live. We'll see what happens tomorrow. For now, that's what it is.